Hey, welcome into another Whoosh video here with me, Louie. Today I thought, let's talk about Disney's Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Both Disneyland and Disney World. I've had the opportunity to go to both. And we'll see some of the highlights I found when I went to both of them. So, Disney's Galaxy's Edge, also known as Batuu, because they tried to make it a setting within the Star Wars universe. They've come up with tie-in novels, tie-in comic books, and they all kind of link it all together. It's really cool. I highly recommend going through and reading them. Phasma links to it, and I believe Black Spire Outpost is another novel that does. And they're really interesting because there's a character you'll see running around with an orange jacket and blue hair. Her name is Vi Marathi. She is from the novels that links Star Wars to Galaxy's Edge and Batuu. So, if you're watching this, maybe you've already seen my lightsaber video, but if you haven't, the link is in the description below. Definitely go check that out because that's an experience in and of itself that I covered. Cannot recommend it enough, though. If you are in Galaxy's Edge and you can afford to do it, do it. It's absolutely amazing. But I'm not here to talk about that experience again, even though it was awesome. Let's talk about the rest of Galaxy's Edge, which you can experience by just walking through the park with the park admission. I'm not going to say free. I almost did, but you still have to pay to get into the park, so it's not completely free. However, walking around Galaxy's Edge is something you can do once you're in the park, and that experience in and of itself is really cool. In California, they've had a lot more character experiences already with the Mandalorian and some Ahsoka characters and the like. Florida is slowly integrating them. On my last trip down in May of 2024, had the opportunity to take a picture with the Mandalorian, which was really cool. Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect it. We were trying to take a picture, actually shoot a video for Whoosh here, and we found like this quiet place. It turned out to be one of the entrances that he comes from, so we managed to snag a picture with him. It was really awesome. The rest of Galaxy's Edge is really, really cool. There's an entire marketplace that makes you feel like you're in Batuu. And they're just these little stalls as you're walking through. They have a lot of like the toys, the apparel you can buy, souvenirs that say Black Spire Outpost. All that kind of stuff is found in there. And it kind of leads you into the rest of Batuu, where you have restaurants like Docking Bay 7, which is really cool. Ronto Roasters. There's some quick service places. We'll get into those later, like a milk stand and Kat Saka's Kettle, which is popcorn. And then there's other like quick grab drink places as well. And it's really cool. One of the cooler places, if you're a huge Star Wars fan, to go into is Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities, where he has things all over the place in there. Helmets, creatures' heads, and it's really cool because it's also where they sell the Legacy lightsaber hilts. I've bought in Ben Solo's from there and Ahsoka's from there. And yeah, not upset at all with either of those purchases. I know my wife has also managed to grab Count Dooku's from there as well. A few other hilts we've bought offline. But it's a really, really great shop. You can get your Kyber crystals in there. You can get your Jedi and Sith holocrons. You can get more apparel in there that links back. Something I missed and meant to say was in that market, that outdoor market, you can actually buy Jedi robes or darker Sith robes if you want. So there's a lot of stuff there that if you want to start cosplaying, it's a fantastic place to go and a fantastic place to pick up equipment to start doing that. I know, I believe it was Rhode Island Comic-Con 2021. My wife and I went cosplaying as Jedi based simply on the tunics and belts we were able to snag from Galaxy's Edge. The pants and boots and stuff we purchased elsewhere, but our hilts, our tunics, our belts, that stuff was straight from Disney, and it made it a lot easier to cosplay for Comic-Cons and stuff. Other cool things they have there on top of Doc Ondar's. But if you can, just go in there and look at all the stuff you'll see in there. And I believe one of the things kind of hidden in there might be a Yeti. I'm not quite sure if I remember that correctly or not, so don't quote me. But definitely go check him out. Another cool thing is that you can go to a droid depot and build a droid. I haven't had the chance to do that yet. That's on my to-do list. But they do sell pre-built droids already. One of them happens to be the B-1 battle droid, Roger, which my wife really loves, so she picked up one of those. What's really cool is we have this little guy here, and he actually has a little piece where he comes off, but he can sit on your shoulder. So you could actually cosplay with this at a Comic-Con if you wanted to. But there's also this cool part where it has phrases you can program into it, right? And let's see if this all goes well. It is not going well. Here we go. So, the light is on. I can change the light if I want. Blue, green, blue, red. It moves. Like the legs move and everything. And what I think is really, really cool is you can program things into it. So yeah, you can program this thing to say whatever you want it to say. And I picked this up the last time I was down there because I just thought it was absolutely amazing with everything that it could and couldn't do. And like you can move the legs around to fit any way you want. Yeah, it's just really awesome. So I think red probably comes through as one of the better colors, to be completely honest. But yeah, I just like it just looks awesome. So they do a great job with all of the props and stuff down there. And the experience itself is amazing. I haven't even touched on some of the really cool rides that they have, honestly. They have two big rides in Galaxy's Edge right now. D23, they announced an improvement to one of them. And that one is the Smuggler's Run, where you get to be a crew member on the Millennium Falcon, because Hondo Ohnaka, who you might remember from Clone Wars and Rebels, hires you to help him deliver, well, not deliver, so much as procure something for him. But you get to be part of the crew, and there's 2 pilots, there's 2 weapons experts, and 2 engineers. And they all have different jobs. Obviously, the pilots fly, the weapons experts shoot, and the engineers make sure the ship stays running. It's really cool. And even the walkway in is really awesome. And I finally, I don't know how many times I've done Smuggler's Run at this point, had the opportunity to fly the Millennium Falcon, and I was so pumped. It was really cool. It's hard, though, because it's almost like you're flying up and down, someone's flying left and right. So you got to really be in sync with the other pilot. But it's really cool to say I finally flew the Millennium Falcon. And not even just getting into the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon. The walkthrough to the Millennium Falcon is crazy detailed. It's so awesome. I can't hype it up enough. It's awesome. It's the one ride in Galaxy's Edge compared to the other one that I like to do over and over again. And the announcement from D23 is that they will be actually adding an mission with the Mandalorian Grogu that you'll get to do on Smuggler's Run. So I don't know how that's going to work. I'm interested to see, but I do think it was time for them to switch up the mission because I've done it countless times already, and it's always been the same mission. So very, very excited to see where they go with that. The next ride up is actually Rise of the Resistance, and this ride is a little bit crazier in the sense of we weren't really sure. The first time I went on it, no one in my group was really sure what we were supposed to do because you're recruited essentially to... Well, they're trying to get you off Batuu because the Empire starts to believe that there's a Rebel or Republic cell there on Batuu, so they try to get you off, and then you get captured by the First Order. But you start off on this one ship, and then it gets boarded. and you have almost no sense of like it's a ride at first, and then somebody comes on, and the only time I've ever experienced being yelled at in Disney is on this ride. A first order officer comes on and yells at everybody to get off, and if you don't move, they yell again, and like you keep getting yelled at until eventually you get off the ship because it's part of the ride. You're supposed to get off and go through. And I remember being like cracking some jokes about like the rebellion, and they're like, "Why are you bringing up something that's 30 years old?" And I was like, "Touche, you got me on that one." And then eventually you go through and you end up in like this little magnetic cart similar to Runaway Railway, and you go through basically an entire Star Destroyer with like the weapons going off and everything around you. Unfortunately for this ride, it does seem to have a lot of issues where it breaks quite a bit, so not everybody gets to always experience the full ride, but it's really cool, and I think it's more of an experience than a ride. Did it the first time, blown away. Did it the second time, a little less blown away. Did it the third time when I went out to California, a little less blown away than the last time. So it's almost like a diminishing returns. Really cool though. Definitely go do it. Just give yourself time between when you do it the first time and when you go on it again, so that way you can kind of fill it in. But it's really cool. Like don't let me take away from the fact that it is a really fun ride that you should go check out, because I highly believe that. So we've covered rides, we've covered shopping, we have not covered food. And I think food is one of the bigger things in Galaxy's Edge that I think is really awesome. And the biggest place that they hype up, it's not necessarily for foods, but it's more for drinks, is Oga's Cantina. And Oga's Cantina is phenomenal. It's a awesome experience. There's a DJ in there who sets the experience, like the energy level. And he's awesome. He's Rex. And he used to fly the Star Tours ride, which we'll discuss at the end as a little bit of a bonus to Galaxy's Edge. But the whole vibe is so cool. It's such a way to go and immerse yourself in the universe, similar to like Mos Eisley's Cantina. There's all kinds of crazy things. The drinks are awesome. Personally, I've been able to have the Blue Bantha, which is just blue milk served with a Bantha-looking sugar cookie. Black Spire Brew, which was just coffee with honey falernum. I'm not even sure what that is. Passion fruit and citrus. That's just the Black Spire Brew. I don't know why they brew it that way. To be fair, there's another coffee that I'm going to recommend and talk about later that's better. There's the Hyperdrive Punch It, which was just Powerade, Berry Blast, and Black Cherry Puree. Absolutely delicious. And seen here with the Carbon Freeze, which is a lemon lime Powerade with strawberry, blueberry, and green apple popping pearls, which they put dry ice in, and it's awesome. It's such a cool drink. They do have some food, like a little chip plate. Really don't go there for the food, though. It's nothing mind-blowing. It's literally just like appetizers or like a charcuterie board. It's not worth it. The next place to go is Docking Bay 7, where you can get like legitimate food, or you can do what I did and go get some dessert there, which was pretty good. And that's also the first place I had this really awesome black calf, cold brew black calf. And it's a cold brew with a cream cheese foam and Cocoa Puffs put on top. It's delicious. Absolutely delicious. And that Docking Bay 7 in Disneyland has that. In Disney World, you would have to go to Kat Saka's Kettle. But it's also worth the trip there, because you can also get flavored popcorn there that's absolutely delicious and really fresh too. So it's definitely worth the trip to go find that cold brew black calf more than get the Black Spire Brew at Oga's. Trust me, you will not regret that. For the milk itself, there's the milk stand, which is phenomenal. It's the milk there isn't dairy, so it's a mix of coconut and rice milks, but they have a blue milk and a green milk, and I know blue milk is the movies, everybody wants it because of the movies, but take my word for it, you want to have the green. The green is delicious. It's by far my favorite. I make sure to get a glass of it every time I go down there. The only thing I'm really disappointed in is they've gone away from the original souvenir you could get for them, which was a light up milk bottle, and they've gone to a cup with the milk stand logo on it. So not as cool. Love the milk bottle. Really, really stoked to have it. So highly recommend going there though, because blue, as much as it's not my favorite, is still really good. Green is just happens to be better in my mind. So you have to check that out. And the last time I went down, we actually went to Ronto Roasters, which is right in the middle of that marketplace. I'd never really gone there for food before, but it was phenomenal. I got a Ronto wrap, which is roasted pork and a grilled sausage with a peppercorn coleslaw and a pita. And my word, it is phenomenal. Phenomenal. So good. I didn't know if it would work that well, and it works fantastic. The other thing picked up there was a Tatooine Sunset, which is a Gold Peak unsweetened tea, Odwalla lemonade, melon, and blueberry. It was really good, really refreshing, and then of course we picked up a Sprite. So just Sprite happens to be really refreshing on vacation. I don't know why. It just is. And speaking of Sprite and Coca-Cola products, if you go to a quick stop for one there that's selling bottled ones, they do have special Galaxy's Edge bottles that are almost shaped like thermal detonators for Coke, Sprite, and Diet Coke. And then the Smart Water comes in a bottle, like just a long bottle where it happens to be written in Arabic. So nothing crazy with the water, but the sodas themselves are really, really cool and very well done by them. I highly recommend it. If you're a Star Wars fan, go check out Galaxy's Edge because it's awesome. It takes you out of this world and into a completely different one. Disney nailed it. Absolutely love it. There's First Order troops walking around which interact with you. There's droids that interact with you, characters that interact with you. It's so good. So much fun. I love it. I can't recommend it enough. But I did say there would be a bonus. Star Tours. So, in Disney World, Star Tours happens to be not far from Galaxy's Edge, whereas in Disneyland, it happens to be in Tomorrowland, a completely different area. But the Star Tours at Hollywood Studios is not right next to, but not too far away. I love Star Tours. I've loved Star Tours from the first time I went on it, when it was the only ride Disney had for Star Wars. And all it is a simple little ride that you get in, and the ride moves up, down, left, right, makes it feel like you're going through space. And the whole premise is that you're on the Star Tours going from one planet to another, and it turns out there's a rebel spy on the ship, and the Empire, the First Order, something wants to board your ship and take over, and then R2 is helping, so he somehow gets C-3PO to end up piloting, even though C-3PO is only there to check something, and then him and C-3PO take off, and R2 takes over the ship. Essentially, you start going through space. You go through all these different places. You go through hyperspace and end up in a bunch of locations. Most recently, they did add in Ahsoka with the Purgils. I had the chance to do that. It was awesome. They somehow made it feel like you're doing a barrel roll. But you go to a lot of the famous battles, the battle over Exegol. You go to things from the prequel trilogy, the original trilogy, the sequel trilogy. It's all over. And it's so much fun. And it's so simple, but it's so much fun. And when I had the chance to go on it with my best friend Phil, he came down 2017. That's how long I've loved going on Star Tours. And I go on it every park that has one. He's also a big Star Wars fan. And I just remember getting off of that ride and my wife looking at me and being like, both of you had the stupidest looking grins on your face from a ride that's from 1989. We were just so happy. And it's awesome. It's genuinely one of the best things. And they do have their own little shop there, Tatooine Traders now. It's a fun little shop. It doesn't follow the same thing as Galaxy's Edge. It has a lot more just general Star Wars merchandise there. But it's really cool. It's really awesome, and I highly recommend, if you go to Disney World or you go to Disneyland or you go to Disneyland Paris or even, I believe, Tokyo, where I'm going soon, has it. By the time you see this, I've probably already been there, but they also have a Star Tours. So I try to go to Star Tours every park that I can go to, and I've ridden it in Florida, in California, in France, and I'm going to ride it in Japan. Maybe one day. Now they got rid of it in Shanghai and Hong Kong, and I believe it's an Avengers themed ride now. So maybe that's it. But I'm super excited to go and try it out in Japan. So with that, that's my review for Disney's Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. It's awesome. As a Star Wars fan, I can't hype it up enough. Go check it out. Go enjoy it if you can. It's worth it. You will love it. But yeah, that's it for us here. We'll catch you next time. Thanks.